Okay, good morning, everybody. It is Heather and Paulette here with another Stash Buster quilt on a Monday morning. It's a bit freezing cold out there. Stay warm, hunker down, sew these fabulous quilts. And I'm going to say, Paulette, take it away.
Okay, so today we're sewing in our stash using a couple of different things. So I decided for this project I'd use some really busy, and I left them over there, backgrounds. So sometimes you have something in your stash that you're wondering what you can do with it. And if you have a background that's quite busy, and Heather, maybe you can zoom in on this. So this is a, kind of a busy background.
Yeah,
and
what are those feathers?
Though I think they're dragonfly wings or something.
Oh, dragonfly wings?
I don't know.
Okay, well, feathers. I mean, I guess dragonflies don't have feathers,
And
do
this
they?
one as well is also quite busy. You can still use those.
Here it is, the dragonfly wings or feathers, whichever way you want to look at it. That's them being used as a background on this one. And then this one is using the green.
Yeah. So as long as you have lots of contrast on top of that busy background, you can still use it as a background. So maybe you have something you can pull out of your stash to try for this. So I'm calling this quilt Hugs and Kisses. It's close to Valentine's Day, so we can do that. So my hugs are these blocks that have kind of a little bit of a circular part in the center, so that's the hug. And also in the quilt, they go around in a circle to make a big hug. And these star sort of blocks are my kisses. And so they also make an X for a kiss.
And there you go. Okay, see, and isn't that funny? Because I was looking at these ones here, and I was thinking that these pieces here look like arms that would hug you.
Well, that's
okay, Heather.
even
Always,
better. Even better. And this quilt actually has the very same two blocks. So here's our hug blocks, and here's our kiss blocks. They don't have the same orientation, but we're going to talk about how they connect together in just a second. So you're going to make two different blocks, and this is what you need for each block. So you're cutting 2-inch strips. So 2-inch by 5-inch and 2-inch by 3.5 inches. So for each block, you need 4 5-inch pieces and 4 3.5-inch pieces for your design, and the background the same amount, 4 5-inch pieces and 4 3.5-inch pieces.
Okay.
So that will make one block. So mine are very scrappy. You could use all the same fabric if you wanted, but it's entirely up to you. So what you're going to do is take your background piece, and you're going to put your design piece on top of it. Now this isn't exactly half. There's more here than here because it's 3.5. So what I do is I bend that over and make a little finger press there.
Yeah.
If it's light enough, you can actually mark it with a pencil, and then I'll move it up here and I know that it's in the right spot. So you're going to sew a diagonal from there to there. So it shows up on this one quite nicely.
Holy cow, on my camera, it looks like it's glowing in the dark. Very interesting. Okay.
So once you have that diagonal sewn, you're going to trim off the triangles, and you're going to open it up, and you will have these little units like this. Okay. And that you're going to make these for both blocks. The hug and the kiss both use this very same unit. The one thing to remember is to always do the same thing. So if you put your background on the bottom and you sew like this, every time you make this unit, the background has to be on the bottom, the colored part on the top.
Okay.
Now, because this is lighter than this, I could actually put this one down, put the background on top, sew the diagonal, and I will end up with the very same
block, but easier to see.
easier to see, but remember you have to do that for every unit. Don't mix them up. Always put the colored down in the background or the background
or the colored on the bottom. Okay,
Right.
colored on the bottom or light brown.
Right.
Light background. Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
So you're going to use these units to make little segments of your block. So you're going to need one of these, and one of these. I have to think about what I'm making here.
Okay.
So you're going to take three, we'll just take down all these. We're going to put these three pieces together. So if you put them together like that, you will make 4 of these to make the star block. If you...
Oh, can you put the block up again just so we can just see that a little bit more?
Okay, so this
I see.
part
Okay.
of the 1/4 of the block is
right there.
Is right there.
Okay. Good.
Right? So the star block, you've got this little pointy bit out in the middle of the background. Now, if you orientate these different and you put this here and this here and this on this side, you're going to get that more rounded.
It's more of a snowball look.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's one that's already sewn together. So you can see that that's what we did there. So here's another one, exactly the same, but I'm going to turn it like that.
Oh, I see.
Here's another
Okay.
one, exactly the same. And I'm just going to turn it, no, it has to go that way. And the last one. So there I have, so that's my little hug block.
Okay.
And so now it's a 9-inch block finished. So it'll be 9.5 unfinished. And then we can talk about how we orientated them into the quilt. So this is the star one. We'll take this down. So I'm using exactly the same little unit that we did here. Oh, that's okay. The one with the diagonal sewing.
Okay.
But we sewed them together in a different order. And this is all in the direction, in the pattern.
Okay.
So there's the beginning of our kiss block. And then when we rotate these and get them up on here, we will have our kiss block.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But you're only sewing together this very same unit for both of those.
Yeah.
And you have the other pieces that are longer to put on each side. So
okay, and this is totally from the stash, okay? Like this is not, like you did not try and coordinate this piece to this piece or whatever. Like you just kind of...
Except for, these are all Christmas fabrics.
Yes.
But I do not have this in a quilt. I just put the Christmas ones together for a sample, that's all.
Okay.
So you could be specific and use something, you know, that has a little bit of a theme going on. But really, you know, there's light brown with holly and dark brown with holly and big Christmas baubles. And like, it's not really organized by color or matching anything. It's just my Christmas colors.
Another question, would this quilt work if you decided that you wanted to use flannel, baby flannels?
I think you could. You just have to remember that you're cutting 2-inch strips. So if you're comfortable.
So these pieces here are you cut a 2-inch strip, and then when you sew them, you're going to finish at the
1.5.
1.5. Okay.
Right. So these little segments here end up being, well, they end up being 5 by 5, but they will be 4.5 in your quilt.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the 9-inch quilt finished. So
you could do it in the flannels, but it might be a little bit more bulk.
Might be a little bit more bulk because you have less in between your seam allowances there.
Okay.
So we're going to use these 2 blocks to put into our quilt here. So this particular quilt, all of the blocks are just sitting horizontally and vertically in the quilt. I also have some empty spaces there where I didn't fill the whole quilt with blocks because then I was able to see the X and see the O.
Yeah.
And so these pieces would be cut 9.5 inches to fit that in there.
Right.
And then I did add on this side a narrow border. I probably cut that, yep, the same. 2 inch, cut 2 inch, so that's 1.5 there. Same width as what is in our blocks. And then a little border on the outside to kind of
just pull it all together. Yeah.
So the green quilt is exactly the same blocks, but I decided to put them on point. So that just means instead of them sitting like this, they are sitting like this. So the points are horizontal and vertical instead of the long straight edges. And
then of course you're going to need material for the setting triangles, and then an outer border, just the one outer border, as opposed to the other one that has two.
Now I was using my stash, so my little design here in the center is all kinds of whites. Modern quilters call that low volume, and so there is some design on those, but mostly what you see is the light color.
Okay.
And I was using my stash, and I only bought 2 meters of this green, which when I got to the outside edge was not enough to frame the whole quilt with the green. So you can see if I had had, you know, the green all the way around, I could have had these little snowballs, hugs, completely surrounded by green. So I had to think outside the box a little bit, and I thought, well, what if I'm using a lot of white low volume here, so why don't I put a bit on the outside? So just a couple there, and then the corners, and then by adding the border, I ended up with these little sort of rounded edges on the outside. So
bigger snowballs.
I think that turned out not too bad.
So, and easy enough to make this into any size that you want.
Yes. Now when you're adding one of these kiss blocks to this hug block, you see you get these nice, they meet up to each other.
Yep.
And so you get this kind of a little bit of a grid going there, which I think is nice, pleasing to the eye, because you have a little bit of structure, even though you've got these jagged edges sitting.
That would be a fun one to free motion quilt. I know Paulette is going to look at me like I've got horns coming out of my head, but it would, because you've got like so much space that you could really have some fun with, like into here and then down into your setting triangles, and that would be a really fun one. Yeah, so can you hear the enthusiasm in her voice there?
Now, I wanted to just show you that if you decided that you wanted to use all the same block, suppose you really love this block and you want to use all the same block. What happens, I don't have one of those blocks sewn together, but what happens is you will get, and you can kind of see it happening here. Okay, why is this not working? There we go. What happens is in between you will get, it'll be like a tessellating one. You'll have this plus the background will be the very same design.
Oh,
when you put them together.
Okay.
And the same with this one. You will just get one of these, and then you actually will have the background piece next door will look exactly like this.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. On the pattern there is a
you've given us a few different layouts on this.
Options, some options to do different things. So if you had these little guys here, you could orientate them so that I'm just going to see if I can get this done. Okay.
And then that one would go.
Yes, like this.
Yeah.
So you could do something that looks, you could put these.
It's sort of like spinners.
You could put these together like that.
Yeah.
Or you could do this. You could do this kind of thing where you've got sort of this kind of thing going on. Let me see. How did I do that?
Yeah. There's
Like that.
Yeah.
So you could, there's lots of different ways before you sew your blocks together and you have the units that are just like this to put together. So I've just given you a few ideas on here to maybe think about. Of course, you can put sash in between it or whatever, but
whatever you like.
But yeah, you can. You only need 2-inch strips for this. So if you have some little skinnier bits, that might work out. And
Wonderful.
I have 97 different reds in there because I like to use a lot of different stuff.
She likes red.
You could repeat a lot of ones, and in this white one, I have repeated a lot of the fabrics. So.
Yeah.
And it still looks a bit scrappy, and it was
Yeah, you
all
could
in
make
my
it as
stash.
scrappy or as planned as you like. What an excellent one. Love the way you've given us some different choices on the pattern, on what layouts you would like. And I think this is going to be a really popular one. Don't forget about the No Math Quilt Chart book. If you don't have one, you might want to pick one up because it really does help.
It'll help you know what size to cut these outside pieces, but that is also in the pattern. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to call it enough for the day, and we hope you guys have a wonderful day, and Paulette and I will see you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.